More victims from the deadly shooting. 50 people died, 53 others are fighting for their lives.
Later today, investigators are expected to release more details about what happened and if anybody else knew about the attack before it happened. Alex Schumann is live in Orlando, where there is still a lot of police and FBI working their investigation. Alex, what can you tell us?
That's right. Good morning, John. We're only about a little more than 100 yards away from the nightclub where the shooting happened, and this is as close as anyone in the public has been allowed to get, or the media. Police have created a huge perimeter around this area. You can see that they are still here behind me, but that has not stopped crowds of people from coming to see the scene and also pay their respects for those who were killed. Now, there are a lot of questions, though, still left unanswered, and police are still here investigating the scene. This is still a very active crime scene that has not been cleared by any means. FBI investigators are wanting to look into the motives. Is this a matter of Islamic extremism or homophobic behavior? We also are wanting to learn more about the victims. Only 18 of the 50 confirmed dead have had their names released, and that's because they have not been able to contact all the family members. Police later today plan to have a gathering with people wanting to know more about their loved ones, where they are, still in that desperate hope to want to know what has happened. Are they in the hospital? And
these clubs are friendly. They don't metal detect you. They don't do metal detectors because there's no reason usually. You go as you are and people accept you as you are. You don't have to be black, you don't have to be white, you don't have to be anything. You enjoy yourself and you enjoy with people who enjoy the same things as you.
We're going to pick up our coverage of the Orlando shootings because we're getting a better picture of the victims who died inside that nightclub. Overnight,
the city of Orlando identified some of the 50 people who were shot and killed. The victims were as young as 20 years old and in some cases as old as 50. Right now at KXAN.com, we have a link to the growing list of victims police are identifying, and among the victims is Stanley Almodovar III. This is a picture I want to show you here of Almodovar. He was 23 years old, a pharmacy technician. His mother, Rosalie Ramos, said she had prepared some food for him to eat when he got home from his night out that night. She says that she got a call around 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday from a woman telling her about the shooting. Almodovar later died at the hospital.
There are so many families this morning who are still waiting to find out what happened to their loved ones inside that nightclub. Mina Justice got the news that she did not want to hear late last night about her son, Eddie. Eddie is among the dead. She learned about the shooting when her son called her. They exchanged text as the shooter just kept on firing off his weapon. It was the last time she heard from Eddie.
He kept texting, so I woke up and looked at it. Then I called him back, and then he didn't answer, so then he called me back and said they were shooting in the club, and he was texting me at the same time. So I got the text after I talked to him. He said call the police, so I called dispatcher and reported that it was a shooting at a club. He texted me at 2:06 and said, "Mommy, I love you." In the club, they're shooting. That was at 2:06. Trapped in the bathroom, downtown.
American Muslim leaders are condemning the attack. The executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations called the killings a hate crime and said the group has no tolerance for extremism of any kind. The leader of the Muslim Public Affairs Council called the attack a, quote, hateful, homophobic killing spree. And the American Islamic Forum for Democracy says that the massacre during the holy month of Ramadan is a reminder that he and other Muslim Americans, quote, are at war with political Islam. The massacre in Orlando has touched the lives of people around the world. In Brazil, supporters held a candlelight vigil to express solidarity with the victims' families. Also, Pope Francis expressed the, quote, deepest feelings of horror and condemnation. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russians, quote, share the pain and grief of those who lost loved ones. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered the lights to reflect the rainbow flag on One World Trade Center. He says that he wanted to show his state's solidarity with the LGBT community. He released a statement saying, quote, New York joins the rest of the nation in rejecting this hate, fear, and extremism. Here in Austin, there were several vigils to remember the victims of that shooting.
Lots of people gathered, hundreds to mourn, but also to support one another. Kate Whitehall is live along 4th Street in downtown Austin with the details. Good morning.
Well, crews right now this morning, why it's so loud, they're cleaning up from last night. In fact, one of the street cleaners, some of the flowers just blew into the street. She picked them up, put them back on that vigil you see right outside Oil Can Harry's. And this is an area of downtown where there are several gay bars. The last time a big crowd gathered here was about a year ago when the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a ruling on state bans concerning same-sex marriage. Last night, the crowd was understandably much more somber. The night started with a vigil at the state capitol, and the group marched down Congress to 4th Street. Austin Mayor Steve Adler spoke to the group at both locations, saying Austinites should not live in fear of something like this happening here, and we must promote love and tolerance for all people, something echoed by those who took part in the vigil.
Yeah, there was definitely a message of love, continued support for each other as humans, and recognizing that we all come from the same place, and that we should all be here to support each other and seek to bring an end to violence.
And at this time, we have not heard of any additional vigils that are going to be happening downtown. Of course, that could certainly change. But coming up in 30 minutes, we're going to talk about security at bars in downtown. We're not just talking gay bars, but also all bars within the city. For now, we're live in downtown Austin. Kate Whitehall, KXAN News.
All right, good questions, Kate. Thank you. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is also reacting to the shooting. He posted a photo on Twitter saying the governor's mansion is flying the Florida state flag in show of support. And on your morning commute, you're going to notice all federal buildings are going to have their flags half-staffed to honor the victims.
And this morning, President Obama is going to be briefed by the FBI and other top intelligence officials on the terror links in the attack. Yesterday, he called the attack an act of terror and hate.
The place where they were attacked is more than a nightclub. It is a place of solidarity and empowerment.
Well, the presidential candidates also shared their reactions. Hillary Clinton tweeted that her thoughts are with those affected by the horrific act. Donald Trump tweeted that he was praying for all the victims and their families. He also called for more toughness and vigilance. Now, as we have mentioned, this is the deadliest mass shooting in American history. Before this attack, the most people killed by a single gunman was nearly a decade ago at Virginia Tech University. That's when a 23-year-old student shot 32 people to death on campus before killing himself. 27 students and 5 faculty members were killed. 17 other people were injured. And the other mass shooting connected to ISIS in the U.S. happened in San Bernardino, California, just last December. A husband and wife killed 14 people and hurt 2 others, 24 others, in a shooting attack at a government office there. 2 other massacres occurred much closer to home. In 1991, a man drove his truck into a Luby's restaurant in Killeen, got out, and killed 23 people. And then in August marks the 50th anniversary of one of the most deadly shootings here. It was right here in Austin when Charles Whitman killed 16 people from the top of the UT Tower.
Even on a night of what is supposed to be a celebratory night, winners and the host of the Tony Awards took time to reflect on the shooting.
All we can say is you are not on your own right now. Your tragedy is our tragedy. Theatre is a place where every race, creed, sexuality and gender is equal, is embraced and is loved. Hate will never win.
Remembrances that hope and love last longer. And love is 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 love cannot be killed or swept aside.
That was Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's the creator of the show Hamilton, and it took 11 awards, including the top prize of Best Musical.